We now have two countries either mandating or requesting isolation or quarantine over monkeypox. At the beginning of the year, I said that I thought we may actually see more lockdowns, so this is over COVID, because we have a midterm coming up and the Democrats have nothing real to offer. Luke Rudkowski of We Are Change disagreed. He said he didn't think so. He thought it was over. That they could not possibly try to push this through because it would only generate more hatred towards them. Now, I don't know what exactly will happen, but I do think there's a possibility that we see lockdowns here in the United States because, well, it's happening around the world. Belgium and Spain and the UK, and we have had monkeypox cases in the US. It is entirely possible, at the very least, Democrats or government officials of either party, establishment as you will try to use the fear of monkeypox to assert some kind of authoritarian pressure. Right? What I mean to say is, I think they'll use this somehow. Here's what I think. We're going to hear that we don't need to lock down, we don't need to quarantine, but we do need to take simple precautions, like expanded mail-in voting. Or perhaps, maybe, you can vote at home and someone can take your ballot for you to the voting location. That way, we minimize the spread. Contact tracing, right? We want to know who might be exposed to who. So maybe the best thing we can do is actually maybe, I don't know, voting in the park, right? We'll set up a bunch of booths in the park and anybody can just come and drop off ballots for whoever they want. And we'll send out a ballot to everyone again, just to be safe. Otherwise, we might have to lock you down. I mean, just think. If we have this midterm election and people go into the voting centers and they're all congregating and monkeypox spreads, well, we're going to have to lock you in your home again. What's that? Mail-in voting sounds a whole lot better. Okay, we can do mail-in voting. Perhaps that's what's going to happen. I'm not a psychic. I don't know. Just a thought. We'll see what happens. We have Belgium becoming the first country to introduce mandatory monkeypox quarantine as global cases rise. We have in the UK the recommendation that anyone who's at risk should isolate for 21 days. Yeah. Everybody should be concerned about monkeypox, Biden warns. Biden warns, so they're already starting to ramp up fear of monkeypox. Again, I think any logical opportunity for Democrats or establishment politicians in this regard would be to further weaken election integrity. Here's the story from CNBC. Belgium has become the first country to introduce a mandatory 21-day quarantine for monkeypox patients as cases of the disease, typically endemic to Africa, spread across the globe. Health authorities in Belgium introduced the measures Friday after the country reported its third case of the virus. As of Monday, the country has recorded 4 local cases. Confirmed global infections currently number around 100. Belgium's compulsory measures apply only to patients with a confirmed infection. Close contacts are not required to self-isolate, but are encouraged to remain vigilant, especially if in contact with vulnerable people. Quote, infected persons will have to go into contact isolation until the injuries have healed. They will receive concrete instructions about this from the treating doctor, a translated version of the government announcement said. The UK, meanwhile, has said those who have a high risk of catching the disease should self-isolate for 21 days. That includes household contacts or medical professionals who have had come into contact with an infected patient. They say, what is monkeypox? Monkeypox is a rare disease caused by the monkeypox virus. Part of the smallpox family with symptoms like rashes, fever, headaches, muscle aches, swelling, and back pain. Though typically less severe than smallpox, health experts are growing concerned about the genesis of a recent outbreak. Starting in early May, actually, I believe it was the end of April, in countries beyond Central and West Africa. Health authorities, including the US CDC and the UK's Health Security Agency, have said they have noted a particular concentration of cases among men who have sex with men, and urged gay and bisexual men in particular to be aware of any unusual rashes or lesions. As of Saturday, the World Health Organization reported there were 92 cases in 12 countries and a further 28 suspected cases under investigation. The US, UK, Canada, Australia, Germany, France, Italy, Spain, Sweden, Belgium, Portugal, and the Netherlands have all confirmed cases. The public health body has said recent reported cases had no links to travel from endemic African countries, which is unusual for the disease. Interesting. It usually spreads via human to human or human to animal contact. Epidemiological investigations are ongoing. However, reported cases thus far have no established travel links to endemic areas. Based on current available information, cases have mainly but not exclusively been identified among sex who have sex with men. MSM. MSM, really? Is that what they call it? Men, sex, men. Like mainstream media? Sure. Seeking primary care and sexual health clinics, it added. The recent surge in community cases, particularly within urban areas, is now raising concerns of a wider outbreak. To have it appear now, more than 100 cases in 12 different countries, with no obvious connection, means we have to figure out exactly what's happening, Seth Berkley, CEO of Global Vaccine Alliance, Gavi, told CNBC Monday. And of course, as they noted, the UK Health Security Agency is advising anyone at risk of catching the virus to isolate for 21 days. That's a whole lot of people. So let me just iterate to all of you that lockdowns are happening already. Belgium is doing a lockdown. The UK is offering up a voluntary lockdown. Let me show you the 2022 outbreak cases per country. Argentina has one suspected case. Now that's kind of weird because Argentina is very far away from Europe, but we have 2 confirmed cases in Australia. How do we have monkeypox everywhere in the world popping up all at the same time? Don't know. Belgium has 4, Canada has 5, but 21 suspected cases. Denmark, France, Germany, Israel, Italy, Netherlands, Portugal, and Spain. Portugal with 37, Spain with 35, Sweden 1, Switzerland with 1, UK with 21, and the United States with 1 confirmed case and 2 suspected cases. Total potential cases are 209, with 124 confirmed cases. Now, perhaps it's nothing. Perhaps this is not a story, because it looks like all of these countries now have confirmed cases. I'm willing to bet Argentina will confirm shortly. It's 124 people. I mean, is this really a big deal? Well, let's go back in time. In 2023, there was a monkeypox outbreak, I believe, in the North Midwest area. 71 cases. We now already have 21 cases in many different countries. In fact, we've got, we got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 countries. Is that really where we're at? We're at 18 countries? Yeah. So, will the U.S. issue a lockdown? I don't know if they can do it, but I want to bring you to what Joe Biden himself has warned. And I want to tell you all, for those that aren't familiar with the rat hope experiment. I know you guys probably heard me talk about it before. I always stress this. Not everyone watches every single video or listens to every single podcast. So for context, some people might not understand. For those that do, bear with me as I explain. A guy takes a bunch of rats. He gets these cylinders full of water. He puts the rats in them. The rats swim for 15 minutes and can't escape and then just give up and die. He tries new rats. He puts them in the cylinders. They swim for 15 minutes, give up, but wait. Now he catches them, takes them out, lets them rest, dries them off, and puts them right back in. The second time around, the rats swim for 60 hours on average because they believed that there was a way out and that if they just tried hard enough, they would be lifted from their doom and saved. Of course, they weren't. He let them die, and they just suffered a whole lot more. Now, I'm not saying we are currently under some kind of experiment. I'm just saying, if this is the path being taken by the elites, what's going to happen is the first time around we get a lockdown, everyone screams and loses their minds. They riot, they smash, they go nuts. Then you get a break. They take you out. They give you hope. You say, oh, hope. Then they bring you back. Then they bring back the lockdowns. This time it's worse. In all of these articles about monkeypox, there are horrifying photos of lesions and pustules and blisters popping on people's skin. It's disgusting. And I'm not going to show it. But it's really fascinating that when you get COVID, it's like it's a respiratory virus and it's not the apocalypse, but we got to take precautions. Everyone says, okay, we better lock down. Now we have a more serious disease, albeit not apocalyptic again. I believe it's Nigerian variant of the monkeypox virus has a 10% mortality rate. The West African clade, as it's called, meaning variant, has a less than 1% mortality rate, case fatality rate. But it does leave you riddled with pustules and blisters. And that's enough to freak people out because I wouldn't want one. So when I look at monkeypox, look, I don't want monkeypox. I'm going to take precautions. What you need to understand about the monkeypox vaccine as well, because already, this is the weird thing to me, guys. There's already people who are like, I ain't taking no monkeypox vaccine. You know, there's a meme going around saying, I'm just going to say it in advance, I'm anti-monkeypox jab. Okay, hold on there a minute, guys. I personally oppose vaccine mandates. I think maybe in some limited circumstances, there's probably an argument, because I don't know if there's an absolute policy position for everything. But I think forcing people to vaccinate, I'm not a fan. No, don't like it. Now, when it comes to the COVID vaccine, I can understand why people are like, yo, this is an mRNA vaccine, one of the first of its kind, I believe, ever administered. It was Operation Warp Speed to get it out. But the monkeypox vaccine was FDA approved 3 years ago. Like, it's already been approved a while ago and has gone through all the standard testing. And the monkeypox vaccine the U.S. has ordered is an attenuated virus vaccine. That means it's an old school normal vaccine. They have a weakened version of the virus. They give it to you. Your body destroys it. You get immunity to to monkeypox. It is not mRNA where, you know, it makes your body produce spike proteins and attacks the spike protein. That's different. No, this one, it's a traditional attenuated virus vaccine. So if you've already gotten a whole bunch of regular vaccines, this ain't nothing different. So for me, I'm kind of like, look, I know everyone's like, we're just waiting for Tim to say the monkeypox vaccine is going to be safe and effective and blah, blah, blah. Dude, I saw a story and it was like 16 hospitalizations from Brooklyn Marathon. And everyone's like, whoa, something's not right. And it was like 15 people scraped their knees and one person had a heart problem. And everyone's assuming 16 people collapsed. And it's like, you got to do two things to understand these stories. One, what were they hospitalized for? Okay, then we find out some people tripped. Some people, you know, crashed into somebody else or something. And you're like, oh, that's just normal. The second thing you need to do is, even if these were heart attacks and you're dealing with a marathon, what were the numbers last year, the year before, and the year before that? Are the numbers comparable? So people are constantly just, I don't know why, man. It's really annoying. We dealt with this at Timcast.com with a writer who wrote some ridiculous nonsense. And I'm like, people just want to hate the vaccine. And I don't get it. Donald Trump's the one who sped it through. Don't get me wrong. I think the mandates are bad. I have issues myself with rushed through, you know, vaccines. And I personally would prefer longer term studies. It's up to you. Make your own decisions. That's why I oppose the mandates. But this idea, this fervent, no matter what, you have to hate the vaccines for COVID. I'm just like, yo, man, I don't get it. It's just, it's too zealous. It's too zealous for me. So when I'm looking up the vaccines being sent out for monkeypox, and it's like 3 years ago, it's like basically a smallpox vaccine, which we've had for like 100 years. And it's an attenuated virus vaccine, meaning, again, weakened version of the virus, not mRNA. And people are already like, I won't take it. I'm like, dude, now you're just getting tribalist on me, okay? To come out and be like, if you're saying you oppose mandates, okay, I hear you there. See, it's the mandates that make me want to be like, I ain't taking that. You can't force me. Because like you give in to these mandates. And I just, even if I were, you know, if monkeypox does become something, you know, much more problematic, I personally have no issue with an attenuated virus vaccine. And I got it. I still would not get a card. I would not issue, play this game to any mandates. I will not do events at venues that require mandates. I'm not going to have anything to do with that authoritarianism. But this is what you need to understand. While many are already saying, I won't fall for it, I won't play to it, fine. I agree. Biden is already warning about it. The New York Times says President Biden raised the alarm on Sunday about monkeypox, a viral infection fast spreading around the world, and warned that the disease, which can be spread as easily as through handling a contaminated object, is something that everyone should be concerned about. Monkeypox, rarely seen out of blah, 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 blah. Okay, we get it. Quote, they haven't told me the level of exposure yet, but it is something that everyone should be concerned about, Mr. Biden said at Osan Air Base in South Korea, where he met with American troops before flying to Japan during his first official visit to Asia as president. We're working on it hard to figure out what we do and what vaccine may be available, he added. But it is a concern in the sense that if it were to spread, it would be consequential. You just got to understand about 1% mortality. This is true for COVID. If you get 1 million people and you have, a 1% chance of death, you're talking about 10,000. Is that 10,000 people? Right? That's a lot of people to die. I understand we can't control nature or anything like that, but we can do our best. I oppose the lockdowns. I don't think they should lock down. I honestly don't know if they would. I think we need to be wary of the authoritarianism and what this would do to our economy if we were to do it again. But I will say, referencing that hope experiment, if they do lock down again, people will accept it. They'll just be like, oh yeah, I remember this. And they'll go for what? If we were looking at 15 minutes being converted into 60 hours in the rat hope experiment, 2 years could turn into more than 100. I mean, that's crazy. 15 minutes. So we're talking about what? 200 and we're talking about, wow, with 60 hours, 2,400. Is that 2,400 minutes? Am I getting my math wrong? So let's do that multiplication. We're talking about like 1,000-fold or, 200-fold. So we're looking at several hundred years people will be willing to lock down over this. I wouldn't be surprised. The Davos group, the World Economic Forum, powerful politicians and elites have all insinuated in some degree that we need to reduce consumption, reduce our carbon footprint, all that stuff, or outright saying you will owe nothing and you will be happy. Why wouldn't they pursue that? Dr. Ashish Jha, the White House COVID-19 response coordinator, said later on Sunday that the U.S. had the resources, including the smallpox vaccines, to keep the virus at bay. Quote, I am confident we're going to be able to keep our arms around it. We're going to track it very closely, and use the tools we have to make sure that we continue to prevent further spread and take care of people who get infected. 2 smallpox vaccines are approved for use in the U.S., and they are generally effective at preventing monkeypox. One is specifically approved for that purpose. The United States has stockpiles of millions of doses for use in a possible outbreak. Most of the cases outside Africa have been found in Britain, Spain, and Portugal. On Sunday, Austria reported its first case. The case reported last week in Boston was the first in the U.S. in nearly 2 decades. The man who got ill had recently traveled to Canada, which has had 2 cases this year. The U.S. saw a monkeypox outbreak in 2003. We get it. The virus can spread via bodily fluids, contaminated objects, and skin contact, or through respiratory droplets expelled by an infected person. I think the interesting thing is they've mentioned that the majority of people who have gotten this are people who are men who hook up with dudes, with other men. I wonder how many people just got outed, right? You're like a dude, you're like, I'm going to Canada for vacation. You come back and you're like, you tell everybody you have monkeypox. They're going to be like, are you hooking up with dudes? Because that's what they're reporting. And then imagine if you're not, and like you got it because someone, spit on something, you touched it. And you're like, I swear I didn't. No one believes you now. New York City health authorities said on Friday, they had tested 2 patients who were under investigation for possible monkeypox. They say it starts with a rash with flat red marks that become raised and filled with pus. Infected people will also have a fever and body aches. Symptoms typically appear in 6 to 13 days, but can take as long as 3 weeks. They can last 2 to 4 weeks, with severe cases occurring more commonly among children, according to the World Health Organization. What do you think? What will you do in the event of another lockdown? Let's go back to the beginning and elaborate on what may come. We are now just about 5.5 months from the midterms. There's a great advantage Democrats have with mail-in voting. There's a great advantage Democrats have with ballot harvesting. Ballot harvesting is illegal in many places, not everywhere. Mail-in voting. Here's the issue. Simply put, Democrats can more effectively canvass homes than Republicans can, because Republicans tend to be in rural areas and there's lower population density. A single building in New York could have 200 voters in it. 2 people can go inside and knock on a door. Door opens, they say, see that mail-in ballot? Fill it out, send it in. I'll wait. They then walk 10 feet, knock on the next door. See that mail-in ballot? Fill it out, send it in. I can wait. They could hit everyone in that building in a couple hours. Now go out to the middle of nowhere. Drive your car, stop, park, get out, knock on the door. See that mail-in ballot? Thank you. Go back to your car, turn it on, drive, or you're going door to door. Takes you about 20 to 30 seconds to get to each door, depending on how far you are in the countryside. Maybe you're out in the deep country, and houses are actually more like 2 or 3 blocks away. Get in your car and drive, knock. That means Democrats will be able to do more effective canvassing and outreach because of urban density. You then just have with ballot harvesting, the same issue, but now people can say, you're going to fill that out? No, I'll take it for you. You go out to the middle of nowhere and it's much, much more difficult to reach the same amount of people. This gives Democrats a massive advantage when it comes to mail-in voting. And that's why the Pennsylvania Republican Party was so dumb to concede that. They wanted to get rid of this thing where you could just check off Democrat and it would vote all Democrat. I'm like, that's pointless. In exchange, they gave Democrats unconstitutional universal mail-in voting, and a court ruled as such. So, how do you implement these policies? Well, we already have universal mail-in voting in many states because of COVID, and they're not going to get rid of it. But what about ballot harvesting? Now they're going to say, look, if we have everyone going to the post office, the mailbox, or the voting booth, people are going to get monkeypox. How about we allow people who want to take the ballots for other people? Easy enough, right? There you go. Now the chain of control is gone. Chain of custody. It's gone. Some random person walks up with a box of ballots and says, it was safer for me, an individual, than for all these people. Now, maybe that one wouldn't work out in the long run because they'll say you still had contact with all these people. But it's better than all the people individually going to the voting booth, right? See? That's the argument they could make. I'm not saying they will. I don't know exactly what their play will be, but already we are seeing something akin to COVID start to emerge. Please pay attention. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 4 p.m. over at youtube.com/Timcast. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.